The Seattle Seahawks pulled off highway robbery this offseason with some of the moves they made. It was a wild offseason, to say the least, moving on from guys like Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, bringing in Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, DeMarcus Lawrence, as well as an excellent draft class. We will go over everything John Schneider did, the things I liked, coming up here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. We have new people joining us all the time here on the channel. And so every now and then, I like to get a survey of the fan base and find out more information about you guys. And so here is my question. I'm curious, have you been a Seahawks fan for 10 plus years? And there's no judgment here. We love when we get new fans that just jump the bandwagon, or maybe you've been a fan since the very beginning, whatever it may be. If you've been a Seahawks fan for 10 years or longer, spam 12 in the comments. Let me know. Let me gauge the audience a little bit, and we'll get started with today's show. I believe that John Schneider pulled off highway robbery this offseason with some of the moves he made, and we're going to explain why I believe that's the case here on today's show. And let's get started with the quarterback position. I still remember coming in on my off day on a March night on a Friday. And I was sitting here getting in my car as quick as possible to get into the office to go live because we had just gotten the news that the Seahawks had traded Geno Smith. And it was something that we talked about on this show. We said it was very much within the realm of possibility. We had even discussed the idea of him going to the Raiders to rejoin Pete Carroll. And for all of you that are out there that say that we talk pointless rumors and all this, we were ahead of it before anyone else was. So you could suck it for that. But that's beside the point. Anyway, back to what we're talking about here. That night, we were all searching for answers. What was next? Were they going to bring in a veteran? Were they going to draft somebody? There was no clear direction. And then towards the end of the evening, there was a report out that Seattle already had interest in Sam Darnold. And then the following day, there was another report out that Seattle had interest in Aaron Rodgers. Thankfully, they didn't go the Aaron Rodgers route. They went with a younger, better, and cheaper quarterback than Geno Smith when they signed Sam Darnold, and they didn't have to give up any draft capital for him either. Sam Darnold comes in off a Pro Bowl campaign in 2024 where he was named the NFL's most improved player by the Pro Football Writers Association. It has been a career of peaks and valleys for Sam Darnold. Things did not go well for him with the Jets and with the Panthers. Goes to the Niners as the backup quarterback. And then last year was a breakout season for him in Minnesota with the Vikings. And I got to tell you, I was so impressed with what he did with the Minnesota Vikings. And then the question becomes, how does he compare with Geno Smith? And the numbers that the two put up head-to-head, what exactly are they replacing between these two here? And the numbers are pretty clear that Sam Darnold is, I think, coming in with momentum, that you kind of got what you got out of Geno Smith, that he had reached his peak. And then you see what Sam Darnold did, throwing for 35 touchdowns last year. Granted, he had a fantastic receiving core and everything. It was one of those deals where we said to ourselves, okay, there's reason to be optimistic here, that this guy, even if he just plays at the level that he did before in Minnesota, that's better than what you had in Geno Smith going forward from here. To me, that was a huge sign of his progress. And then on top of that, too, not only did you bring in Sam Darnold, go younger, go cheaper, and go with a more talented quarterback, you put yourself in a pretty good situation when it comes to his contract as well. Sam Darnold's contract, a 3-year, $100.5 million deal with $55 million guaranteed. The contract is fully guaranteed if Darnold remains on the roster after this upcoming Super Bowl. If he's cut after 2025, the Seahawks will only owe Darnold $37.5 million. So let me stop there for a moment before we show you the rest of this graphic. Basically, it's a 1-year contract that he's got. And if Sam plays well, then they'll let things continue on and take on the fully guaranteed contract. And they are saving a lot of money, and they have an out of this situation compared to what they would have had with Geno Smith. And Geno, not to mention, too, he didn't want to be here. He requested a trade. There's opportunity for him to earn an additional $15 million in incentives for the life of the contract. And he also can get other bonuses based on playing time and playoff success. All of those are reasonable things. And that, to me, when you navigated this situation with not knowing where you were going to go, to end up with Sam Darnold here, I think that John did really well to navigate this, especially picking at 18, and the quarterback class was not that great. You go with a guy that's got a track record that looked pretty good this past year. I think you made the most of the hand that you were dealt and came out pretty good. Credit where credit's due to John Schneider for finding Sam Darnold. Will Sam Darnold be better than Geno Smith? You got two options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. Weigh in on our pinned comment today and let us know what you think. Folks, want to make sure you subscribe to Seattle Seahawks Today as we're bringing you the latest happenings on your favorite team all year, all offseason long with our daily news and rumors. We're bringing you live shows, not just once, not just twice, but 3 days a week. We also have our Madden Sim season that's going very well for Seattle at this point in time. We bring you breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. I'm about to hit the road. I'm going to Phoenix for a little vacation. But if anything happens at the start of training camp, I'll bring you a video from the road. Why? Because we're that dedicated around here, folks. The most dedicated Seahawks channel around is Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. The defense last year was really solid. And towards the end of the year, we're talking about this being a top 10 group in 2024. And not only do you bring most everybody back from last year's defense, but you improved what already was a solid defense. Let's focus on the free agent signings for a moment, not even including what's happened in the draft, because I want to talk about the draft by itself here in just a moment. But here's a look at what you did defensively in free agency. You re-signed Ernest Jones, which was a no-brainer. And he's got a fully healthy knee, which he did not have the last 2 seasons. He was playing well with a banged-up knee, and now he's healthy. That's great. You re-signed Jarran Reed, which was a no-brainer decision. He's played really good the last 2 seasons and has been a force on that defensive line. You bring in DeMarcus Lawrence. I know there's some injury concerns with him, but I think he's a gamble worth taking based on how you structured that contract. And then on top of that, too, what Mike Macdonald has done in the past with older pass rushers. You bring in DeAnthony Bell, and there's talk about DeAnthony Bell of his potential role, what he could look like in some 3 high safety looks, some chances to get creative with him. Not a bad signing at all. Shamar Jean-Charles, you brought over from the New Orleans Saints. He's not expected to be a starter, but he's not a bad backup, and if he needs to fill in for a spot start, or if you need to use him in some 4-corner looks, whatever it may be, he's not a bad football player. You brought back Josh Jobe, who started, 10 games for you last year? Only had to pay him $2 million? That was a win, even if he doesn't start. I'll take Josh Jobe on my team. And then Shaq Griffin is back as well. And Shaq Griffin, even after he departed Seattle, has been a very good football player and a quality starter. Now I add him already to having Devin Witherspoon and Rick Woolen. I think that's really good. Let's talk about a couple of those guys, the new players that were brought in. DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence, I know you see the numbers. 3 sacks last year. Got off to a good start before the injury. 4 sacks the year before that. 6 in 22. 3 in 2021. I see DeMarcus Lawrence, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that if he's healthy, granted it's a big if, that he could lead this team in sacks and have a fantastic season. Shaq Griffin, meanwhile, you see what he's been able to do. 2 interceptions last year, 1 interception the year prior, 6 pass breakups, 5 pass breakups the year before that. You're not getting a Pro Bowl corner, but he's a quality starter. And even if he gets beat out by Josh Jobe, that's a good sign for Josh Jobe. And that also means that you have a good backup in Shaq Griffin. I think you're in a no-lose situation by bringing in Shaq Griffin here. Do you believe in the Seahawks defense? Be honest with me, 12s. Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in the comments section. Tell me what you think on the Seahawks defense. Got a great deal for Seahawks fans. Nike T-shirts are on sale now for just $15.99. That's it, folks. $15.99 is all it costs to get these fantastic Nike shirts. Chatsports.com/SeahawksT is where you can get yours today. It's getting hot outside. You need some T-shirts. You want to rep your favorite team at the same time. Why not get one of these shirts? $15.99 while supplies last. Chatsports.com/SeahawksT to get yours today. We have all sorts of different shapes and sizes. We also have other Seahawks merchandise available at that same link. Go see for yourself now. Chatsports.com/SeahawksT. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/SeahawksT to get yours today. Last on our reasons why Seattle pulled off highway robbery. It was a great draft. And almost everyone you talk to of these so-called experts around the National Football League look at this draft and they say, wow, what Seattle did, not reaching, taking care of positions of need, drafting players for value, and preparing for their future. This draft had about everything except getting a corner, and you signed Shaq Griffin after the draft, so you took care of that still, even as far as that goes. You go back and look at the draft results for Seattle. You started off with getting Gray Zabel. Gray Zabel, I think the best interior offensive lineman in this year's draft. He's going to be your starting left guard. That's a huge improvement from Laken Tomlinson. You bring in Nick Emmanwori from South Carolina. You traded up for him at 35. I don't know what Emmanwori's role is going to be. He's got experience playing safety, corner, nickel, outside backer, inside backer. He's just one of those athletes, I'll find a role. And Mike Macdonald's talked about that too. He has said, like, look, we're going to get him on the field in some capacity. That's going to work. Then you get Elijah Arroyo. And all of a sudden, you're not so concerned about Noah Fant and his lack of production. You're preparing for your future here. Elijah Arroyo is that guy. He is, I think, got star potential in this league. And then you go with Jalen Milroe at 92. And I don't know if Jalen Milroe is ever going to be the starter. I think people would like to see that happen. But at the very least, you got a very talented athlete that you can use in your offense in some capacity as far as that goes, that there can be a role for him in some way, shape, or form as far as that goes. You move on and go with Riley Mills. You pick him, and I'm feeling pretty good about Riley Mills, what he could do at the defensive tackle spot out of Notre Dame. I know that he's likely not going to play this year, but that's okay. I think that he can be one that takes a redshirt year and that you can prepare for your potential, your future with him. Then you go with Torrey Horton, and had he not been hurt, he's another one that would have been picked much higher than what he was, and I think he's got a chance to compete with MVS for that number 4 receiver position. You go with Robbie Oots, a tight end at Alabama, who you convert to the fullback spot and is an excellent blocker, not a bad pick at all. Then you get Bryce Cabledew at the offensive guard spot coming over from Kansas. I think he was undervalued. I think he's got a chance to do something special potentially. And then you round out the draft with David Martinez, who I thought went way lower than he should have been. And he's a guy that he's compared himself to beast mode Marshawn Lynch. I think that might be a reach, but hey, I love the enthusiasm. He's a do everything back. Mason Richmond, he's got some work to do to potentially make the team. And not a bad pick with Ricky White III, the wide receiver from UNLV either. I loved everything they did, and it's hard to hate much of this draft. And you look at, I think there's 2 guys in particular that are going to be immediate impact players. When you talk about Gray Zabel, with his experience, the way he dominated at the Senior Bowl, and I'm not, even though he hasn't played guard before, he was a tackle his entire career. I'm not worried about his transition. I think that, in a sense, it almost gets easier for him going from tackle to guard as far as that goes. And then Nick Emmanwori, I mean, a first-team All-American, first-team All-SEC, did it in the conference where it just means more in the SEC. This is a guy that Mike Macdonald is looking at, and he's saying, yeah, that's a guy I can work with. I'll find a role for him. He looks like a guy that Mike Macdonald just has a wet dream about when it comes to playing on the football field. Who was the Seahawks' best draft pick? If you had to pick one name that comes to mind, who would it be and why? Away in the comments section and tell us who that is. Final thoughts. With his job on the line, this was the most important draft of John Schneider's career. Schneider delivered. And we'll see what the end results are, how these players develop, and where this team goes from here. But I can sit here right now and I can say, with as much young talent as there is on this roster, with the players that are there, I think an excellent young coach and Mike Macdonald as well. The future is bright in Seattle. There's a lot of reason to be hopeful and optimistic going forward from here. I'm feeling pretty good, and I think John knocked it out of the park this offseason. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end of today's video, spam real one in the comments section. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.